Hello, this is your host, Kerry Hudson, on Your Own Voice podcast, Your Own Voice Live. Here to make a recording and discuss a couple of things I felt. Um, the first thing I wanted to discuss is, you know, I think I'm going to go with high-tech companies that done bought into Trump and paying him to get their way in this country. Um, I just seen Mark Bird, whatever his name is. Gave Trump money. Now he want Trump to protect him or do something. Trump done told him to do something. I don't know, got about laying people off, whatever it is. But it just shows in this country how these high-tech companies from Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all of them, they just trying to buy this country and be in power. We're going to have to do something about that in this country. I don't know what happened since Trump got elected. But it's really going to get bad for regular Americans in this country on every level. And I don't know what the Democrats going to do about that. I know they're trying, but I know one thing they shouldn't do. I just read where Cory Booker is doing like a talkathon or whatever, filibuster type thing. I don't know what that going to do for America, for American citizens. And the Democrats must really find their way, or that's some new leaders, because I don't think that's going to do anything, solve anything. And I really don't think the Republicans can even sit up there, talk, I don't know, to the end of days. And I don't think they're going to do anything to change anything or how they feel. And I don't think the American people really paying any attention to that. What he's doing, they got to find something better to do. Cory, the Democratic Party, y'all really do. Just let the young, I mean you young too, but let AOC and Jasmine Crockett do their thing, because that ain't it. And that's really not going to inspire anybody, because you sitting up there talking for 15 hours. Don't nobody care. Next, I want to talk about Tuesday election. I don't know if that's going to be some type of bellwether where they see people changing their vote and voting some Democrats in those red districts. I hope it do, but we'll see how that turn out in these elections that's being held on April 1st in Wisconsin, down there in Florida. See what happens with that. But I do think change is in the wind for this country, and I think America done had enough of Donald Trump and whatever it is he called himself doing. The next thing I want to look at, I want to talk about Stephen A. I know everybody been talking about that, him and LeBron and all that. I just like to say, ain't nobody picked Stephen A. to be no black leader or nothing. I don't know what makes you think you can get into top politics. And you just running your mouth because you got that $100 million. But I don't really think minorities want to even hear anything you got to say. And nobody like a fence setter. Either you with the Democrats or Republican. Well, most of all, you should be with black people. That's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear your mess, man. Go sit down somewhere. And they're just trying to get some money and whatever. And I consider LeBron James more of a leader than you will ever be. That's my opinion. Because he's been helping middle-class American, poor American since the moment he got into the NBA. You ain't done nothing but collect money. I'm sure you gave, but you ain't been in the hood trying to help nobody. LeBron's been in the hood with his bike program in Akron, the school thing he been doing since the day he got into the NBA. and you ain't made none of those type of contribution, not only to America, but to the black community and the poor community. So you just sit there and be quiet. Ain't nobody ask you nothing, and quit trying to act like you all that. And I'm just a poor American, middle class American, and you just need to go sit down, man. Just go sit down and be quiet. Anybody ask you nothing, and don't nobody really want to hear nothing you got to say. I don't know who these people are in sports, or why ESPN feel they would even want to give you that money. It's just beyond me why they even did that. But hey, it's their money, and they do what they want. Another thing I like to say, it's time for the middle class, especially, I'm really talking black athletes. Fox is so against and so racist against the black community. It's time for you black athletes to quit even doing interviews on Fox. Don't even do it. It's time to boycott Fox. We are at war in this country against the races in this country. And Fox is their propaganda machine. And if we want to stop Fox, it's got to start in the sports world. And Fox Sports, every black athlete, you can't stop the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball from having their games on Fox. But there's one thing as a black athlete you can do, is you ain't got to do an interview on Fox. They can't make you do an interview and talk to their sports writers, sports analysis. Just don't do them. You can talk to anybody else, just don't talk to Fox sportscasters. And if the NBA and them want their games to play, you can't stop that. Because as your First Amendment right, you don't have to talk to Fox. You just tell them to boycott them. I don't do interviews on Fox. Do CBS, ABC, anybody you want, but you just don't do no Fox. It ain't in your contract that you got to talk to anybody on Fox. And if it is, write it out or do what you got. But it's time for you athletes, black athletes, to make a stand. It's time for you to pay your dues, not only to this country, but to the black community. You see what they do in the DEI. That's trying to dismember black history, everything. Why would you want to do an interview on Fox? You young cats. It's time for you to pay your dues to the black community and black history and see and protect our children and grandchildren. And that's one way you do it. And Murdoch, I don't know, the Murdoch family sooner or later get the message that they should need to be fined all those analysts on their network. And like I said, it's time for the next generation of blacks in the community to pay your dues. And if you don't, then it's time for the black community. Forget that woke stuff to cancel you out. We ain't buying your album, we ain't watching your games or nothing. Because it's time for you to choose the sides of what's going on in this country and quit sitting on the fence talking that mess. It just is. It's your time. My generation, my older generation, we paid our dues. That's what black history is. That's my generation. And our children, we gave you everything. Now you're sitting up there, you ain't giving nothing back. Just sitting up there running your mouth on the follow Trump and those fascist community on Fox. It's time to pay your dues. Just tell them I ain't doing no interview now. You can talk to ABC. You can talk to CBS. You can talk to anybody out there. I ain't do Fox interviews. We shouldn't even be doing shows on Fox, on regular TV. You act, it's time to pay your dues. No, I ain't doing that. And now I know you want to get paid, but everybody, every generation, you got to make a sacrifice for the black nation. It's your time. We don't want to hear no more of your crap. Just do it. You'll still get work. It's enough work. It's enough independence work for you to do. So pay your dues and don't do Fox. That's what they doing. They're cutting out everything. They don't care what you think. Why do you care about them? It's time for you to. They cutting off revenue stream in our history. Why can't you do the same? You know, get ABC, NBC, anybody else that want to talk to you or do a show with them. It's simple. You know, and it's time, you know, this is the kind of stuff that a political individual in the Democrat and ask. Black, you know, this is the stuff that Jasmine Crockett, Shantae Brown, all of them don't do those interviews. And somebody need to speak up on that. Even at 50 Cent with your craziness that you do, if you want to, if you with Trump, then that's fine. But we're going to do anything and everything to cancel you out. And that's just the way it is now. You know, you got to pick a side. You can't sit on the fence. Stephen A. Smith sit on the fence. Charlemagne, the blasphemer, sit on the fence. And it's time to get rid of these dudes, you know. And I really wish, you know, some more black power will come about, you know, that stand up, good brothers is working hard every day and have a lot of blackness about it. We need that today to protect our children from Donald Trump and those UTs. You know, I don't know if I could say that on my podcast, but you know, we got a lot of UTs, Uncle Toms, that, you know, that going along with this crap. They detrimental to the black nation. You know, that's my opinion. I want to bring that up. And then we just need to say it now, say it out loud like they do. You know, DEI is against black people. Let me show you how hateful that the MAGA Republicans or the Republican Party, Donald Trump on down, anybody that believe in it, they are so hateful in their heart that the State Department of the United States is sending a letter out to countries in other parts of the world to, if you got DEI, if you want to keep doing business with us, that you must cut your DEI program across the world. That's crazy. That's insane. As an other country to put black people out of work, and these are countries of color all over Europe, to cut your DEI program in your country. You didn't even have many black people over there for them even doing that. But this is what Donald Trump is doing. This is why we got to pay attention to what's going on in this country, especially the black nation. We must inform our kids and the generation under me. I hate to say that, I don't want to date myself, but I'm from the civil rights generation. They're trying to destroy us around the world. That is not nothing but fascism and Nazism. Don't get it twisted about Donald Trump. That's who he is. That's who the Republican Party is. When are we going to wake up in this country and realize who this man is and those that work for him? It's the truth. And we must stand up to it. So any black person in the black nation that's for this stuff, Lil Wayne and all of them, we got to cancel those dudes out. They are the enemy. Don't be fooled by them. They talking all that stuff. They don't do nothing but waste their money on gold, and they misuse our women and everything and buying cars. They are doing nothing. You know, they want the tax break. They want to be part of the rich community. That's who they are. So let's just accept it for what it is and fight for what's right. And then and some of them go down, so be it. But, you know, that's how I feel. And my next thing, this is a local thing, the Cleveland Brown. I think they lose in this state and this and all over this country. And the NFL going to learn sooner or later. And the people of Cleveland always lead the way since Carl Stokes. We are not giving you no $600 million from the state. We are not giving you $300 million from the city. And we're not giving you a nickel. And we're going to set the precedent that we got to start giving these baseball, football, any other sports hundreds of millions of dollars to build your stadium. You're a private company, build your own stadium. Why do you think these players getting paid so much money? Because they don't have no overhead. They don't have no overhead. Because hard-working people is building a stadium for them to play in, then want us to take care of it, while they make all that TV money, make all that stadium money, and they don't pay for anything. You know, I just read somewhere where one baseball player is making $750 million for one player. That is ridiculous. It's insane. It's basically, it's immoral. I'm not mad at the baseball player, but for them to even be paying one player like that, you know what $750 million would do for a city like Cleveland, Chicago, LA? You spend that money on potholes, police, housing, you name it. And one person getting this money, you can't get mad at him. He put it out there, they paid because those owners is not paying. They getting crazy money. Just think, if they could pay him, now just think what they getting paid. Because the owners ain't gonna pay you that kind of money if they ain't got it to give. It's time, and Cleveland gonna be the trailblazer in this country to stop giving these ballparks, major league, anything in sports, this kind of money. It's gotta stop. It just gotta. We can't afford it no more in these cities. Just can't. You see what they did to Oakland. Oakland is another city. They said, forget it, leave. We don't care. We're not doing that anymore. And Cleveland is the next. We setting the precedent right behind Oakland. We're not doing it. We take care of our cities first. You want to leave, fine. Baseball don't really bring no money. Football don't really bring no money. And neither do the NBA. So let's just see what it is. It is what it is. And it's time to accept it and look at this in a new perspective. With Donald Trump, the rich is running our country amok. It's ridiculous. While everybody else suffer. Excuse me. But, you know, I hope everyday citizens start to see this. But anyway, that's all I got today. My time is up. Thank you for yours. And I'm going to move on to the next time. And tell your friends. And they listen to my kind of podcast, and mostly audio now, still working on visual, but I get there, it takes time. And like I say, I'm not a guy with a lot of money on my show. I'm not all these shows you see on YouTube. But tell your friends I get there. If you tell your friends to listen. I try to do the show once a week. So it's easy for you to listen, like it's no everyday show. But you got to tell your friends. It's time for real talk. Not old basketball players talking about old games and who they played with, old football players talking about what they did in the game. That ain't going to do nothing for you or better your life, not one way or the other. You better listen to some real talk. Your voice, this is your own voice podcast, or your own voice talk live. So tell a friend. And, to my next podcast, I see you then. I try to podcast every Wednesday. So if you can't listen today, I'm on Spotify. Find me, Your Own Voice Live. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.